Some decisions leave marks that never fade, and I carry them with me every single day. My name is Isabel. I'm 32 years old, and for the past several weeks, I've been haunted by one question that refuses to let me rest. What do you do when the person you hurt most acts as if you no longer exist? I never believed I'd become the kind of woman who would sabotage the best thing in her life for something so meaningless. Yet here I am, alone in a rundown studio apartment, surrounded by silence, with nothing but regret keeping me company. 6 years ago, everything felt different. That was when I met Nathan. Being with him was effortless, almost as if the universe had arranged it. Within a few months, we had moved in together. By our second year, we bought a small, cozy house in a quiet neighborhood. To everyone else, we looked like the perfect pair, and for a while, I believed it too. Nathan was steady, patient, and endlessly thoughtful. He knew exactly how I liked my coffee, rubbed my feet after exhausting days, and never once made fun of my guilty pleasure reality shows. With him, I felt safe, cared for, and anchored. But safety slowly turned into routine. For years into our relationship, our lives blurred into the same cycle. Work, dinner, TV, sleep, repeat. The spark that once felt unstoppable had dimmed. Nathan texted less, came home later, and when he did, his eyes didn't linger on me the way they used to. Instead of speaking up, I let outside voices seep into my mind. My friend Kira insisted I was too young to accept boredom. Lana, who treated marriage like a trend she could change on a whim, reminded me that if Nathan wasn't making me feel wanted, someone else eventually would. And then that someone else appeared. Dylan arrived at my office like a storm in a tailored suit. He had a self-assured presence, an easy smile that drew people in, and a way of making me feel like I was the only one in the room. At first, it was harmless, casual jokes, light conversations. But soon came the texts. They started about work, then shifted to music, weekend plans, and personal thoughts I hadn't shared with Nathan in years. Dylan listened, laughed, noticed me. I craved that attention. I wanted to feel desired again. It built until one evening, after a happy hour with colleagues, Dylan kissed me in his car. I went home sick with guilt but strangely alive, as though something inside me had woken up after years of sleep. That initial guilt became easier to dismiss each time I stayed late at the office or sipped wine with Dylan instead of going home. I told myself Nathan was distant, that he had stopped trying. And then I crossed a line I could never undo. One night, when Nathan said he'd be working late, I let Dylan into our house, our bedroom, the very place where Nathan had once promised me forever. What happened there wasn't love. It was selfishness masked as excitement, a fragile ego hiding behind dim lighting and red wine. A part of me even wanted Nathan to discover it, hoping maybe that would make him fight for me, fight for us. But he didn't fight. He left. That night, Nathan came home earlier than I expected. Dylan was already gone. I was frantically wiping glasses, fixing pillows, trying to erase what had happened when Nathan's eyes met mine. I kissed him, pretending everything was fine, but he pulled away. He barely spoke, ate nothing, and chose to sleep in the guest room. By morning, everything had changed. At the kitchen table, with his hand resting on a mug, he calmly told me he wanted to end things. No shouting. No cruel words. Just finality. I begged for an explanation, but he didn't need to say much, he already knew. When he later returned to collect his belongings, I stayed, desperate to hear it spoken out loud. And he told me the truth. He had seen me with Dylan in our bed. My throat went dry. I couldn't find words. His eyes no longer held love when he looked at me. That wasn't a mistake, he said. That was betrayal. I pleaded. I suggested counseling. I apologized until my voice cracked. But he shook his head. You didn't talk to me when you were unhappy, he said. You just replaced me. And I'm done. Then he walked away. 6 years, gone in minutes. All that remained was shame, guilt, and the wreckage of a life I destroyed with my own hands. Dylan tried to linger. He called, texted, talked about wanting something real with me, as if we were some tragic romance. I couldn't stand even hearing his name. I blocked him. Even Kira, who once cheered me on to chase excitement, looked horrified when I admitted I had brought Dylan into the house Nathan and I shared. I stayed with her briefly before moving into this cramped apartment, its paint peeling and rent barely within reach. I eventually found a new job, lower pay, but at least no one there knew my past. Nathan, meanwhile, is thriving. I heard he was promoted at work and that he's dating someone new. From the little I've seen, she seems to appreciate him in all the ways I failed to. She looks at him with the gratitude I once took for granted. Sometimes, my fingers hover over my phone, aching to send him one last apology, to ask if there's even a sliver of hope left. But I never press send. Because he was right, he owes me nothing. Not forgiveness. Not closure. I lost him. I lost our home. I lost the future we could have built. And I lost it all for a fleeting illusion of being wanted by someone who never truly knew me. The worst part isn't the emptiness of being alone. It's knowing this was my choice, my doing. And I have no one to blame but myself.